Hi, Sunday school friends. You're ready to read a story with me, and I'm ready to read a story with you. Now, this week in Sunday school, we're talking about a lot of different stories in the Bible, and all of them help us remember that Jesus and all of the prophets that we learned about all through Sunday school this year, Jesus can help make us brave. And what it means to be brave is that you're sure of yourself. You're sure enough of yourself that you can be you. That you can let your light shine, just like Lumi last week. That you can be the best version of you. That's what it means to be brave. You don't have to be somebody else. You don't have to put up a show, puff yourself up like our Mr. Puff It Up, what was his name, in the video a couple of weeks ago when he just tried to puff himself up with knowledge to make himself feel better. He was just perfect the way he was because that's the way God made him. So this story is called The Magic Hat Shop. And it's by Sonja Wimmer, and I really, really wish that we could be reading this together so you could feel this book. Most books are made out of paper, which is made out of the wood pulp from trees that need to be cut down. This book is made out of stone. They have ground the stone up so fine and put it back together that it's actually stone paper. It does not turn, fold, crease the same as wood pulp paper. It is so cool. I wish that you could feel it too. Made of stone. But this is about what makes you brave. The Magic Hat Shop by Sonja Wimmer. Let me get up closer so you can see better. Nobody knew how it arrived or from where. But one morning, a little hat shop just appeared right in the middle of the town square. "Who needs hats?" said some of the townspeople, while others said, "Oh, how rude, turning up just like that." They looked at the shop out of the corner of their eyes and kept away, mistrusting anything that might threaten the quiet routine of the town. I want you to pay close attention to their faces, friends. See the lady with the swirly hair and the swirly dresses face? Just notice all the different characters. Now, the first person who dared to enter the shop was a young man called Timid Tim. Now, to be timid means you're shy. But he was so shy, he never spoke to anyone, and he always seemed to be making great efforts to go unnoticed. To kind of hide, that means. Kind of like this goose with one shoe. But when he walked out the door, just a few moments later, he was wearing a wonderful hat on his head. And not only that, something else about him had changed. Here's before. Before, he'd always walked around with his shoulders hunched up, looking down at the ground. Now he seemed to have grown a couple of inches. He was walking with his back straight, his chin held high, and he even said hello to the people in the square, who looked at him in surprise. Little by little, the townspeople plucked up the courage to enter the store. At first, it was just out of curiosity, making sure nobody else was watching. But when they came out, they were all wearing new hats, and they seemed to have been changed in some wonderful way. People started to whisper that the hats were magic because they brought out the most surprising features in the people who wore them. and made all their problems vanish into thin air. That's some serious magic. Sad Sally had almost forgotten how to smile from lack of practice. But from the moment she put on her new hat, she began to greet each new day with laughter, spreading happiness to everyone around her. Mean Morris had a new top hat. Before, he'd never spared a thought for anyone else, but now he always left the door of his house open. Anyone who felt like dropping by was invited to have a cup of tea, to share their problems, or just to sit a while and chat. Looks like he's even inviting people under his top hat when it rains. Quite a change. People said that the Hatter never spoke a single word, but he knew how to listen carefully to his customers until he found the hat that was just right for them. The mayor, who thought he was the grandest of all the town's inhabitants by far, called himself the Great Grzinski. One morning, after chatting to the Hatter about all the wonderful things he'd done, the Great Grzinski asked, "So, do you have a hat worthy of a celebrity such as myself?" The Hatter, who had been listening carefully, just like he did with all of his customers, winked and nodded his head. Shortly afterwards, the Great Grzinski strode out of the store with a huge smile on his face. Suddenly, he didn't feel quite as grand as he used to. He felt different and very happy with his new hat. Life in the town had certainly changed since the silent, mysterious Hatter had arrived with his magic store. Townspeople didn't want to take off their hats. They wore them in the street, at home, when they ate, when they kissed. They didn't take them off when they went to bed or when they had a shower. But one day, a terrible storm swept through the town. A ferocious wind blew all the leaves off the trees and all the hats off everyone's heads. They flew away into the air, never seen again. The following morning, once the storm had passed, the townspeople realized that the wind had not only swept away all of their hats, but it had also taken the little store. The only thing that was left of the Hatter was his derby. Silence fell over the townspeople like a thick fog. What would become of them now? They felt bare and weak without their hats. "Well, I don't want to be shy ever again," said Tim all of a sudden. "We don't need magic hats to become the people we really want to be." "You're so brave. You'd be a much better mayor than me," said the Great Grzinski in a soft voice. Mean Morris added, "And if we help each other, I'm sure we can do it." Sad Sally, who wasn't sad anymore, put her arm around timid Tim, who wasn't shy anymore, and began to dance with him. Soon all the townspeople were singing and dancing through the streets. As for the Hatter, nobody ever heard from him again. Some say that the wind had carried him away along with his little store. Others said that he'd disappeared inside his derby and would reappear somewhere else where he could start selling his magic hats all over again. We don't need a magic hat to be the person that God made us to be. We just need some courage. And as we're going to see this whole week, all of the icons that you can find in your virtual Children's Chapel today, Jesus and the prophets make us brave. And when we listen, by reading our Bibles, by hearing the stories, by praying about the stories and about our path and journey in life, we get the courage to be our true selves. We don't need a magic hat, although it's nice to have the encouragement of the community around you. All of us at St. Pat's are watching you guys grow, and we're so proud of the way you're growing. Without magic hats, but with the love of God in your heart, ready to share with others.